Welcome to the JayGravesReport College Football Weekly Preview, Week 13. Y'all know how we get it in, so let's get it in. Previewing the top 5 ball games of the weekend, so let's get right to it. Let's go straight to the Big Ten. We got number 19, Wisconsin, goes to number 25, Minnesota. Both these duns come in 8-2. Let's move on to the next ball game. Why are we talking about the Big Ten? The only team in the Big Ten that's relevant is Ohio State, and those duns got Indiana this weekend. This ball game in Minnesota is going to be 20 degrees outside, bruh. Who cares about this game? They'll be playing hockey before halftime, and you got a whole bunch of cats out there with their shirts off trying to tell you that it ain't cold. Now, I'm gonna go with Wisconsin for this ball game simply because they play in Minnesota. Minnesota's 8-2, but they still Minnesota, bruh. Come on, let's move on to the next ball game. Let's go down out to the Pac-12. We got number 17, Arizona State, goes to the Rose Bowl to play number 14, UCLA. Now, here's the deal. Arizona State can clinch the Pac-12 South just by winning this ball game. If they lose this ball game, if they show up dull, then they got to turn around and try to beat Arizona next week and hope that USC beats UCLA. That's too much work, bruh. All you need to do is take care of business this weekend and you good. Now, here's the problem. UCLA comes in 8-2 as well. They've only lost 2 ball games to legitimate opponents. They lost to Stanford and the Parliament Funkadelic. That's it. The last 4 ball games, they've averaged more than 30 points a game, and my man Brett Hundley been going to work. He got more than 2,300 yards and 20 touchdowns at this point. So I got to go with the UCLA Bruins to win this ball game because they playing at the crib, and Brett Hundley got these boys rolling. Let's move on to the next ball game. Let's go down to the SEC. We got number 8, Mizzou, comes into the joint 9-1, going to Vaught Hemingway Stadium to play the number 24 Old Dumb Mississippi Running Rebels. Now, here's the deal. James Franklin comes back into this ball game for Mizzou after being out for 4 games with a shoulder injury. In those 4 games, Mizzou won 3 out of the 4 with Old Dumb Matty Malk. The freshman came in and took care of business Now, here's the deal. South Carolina is sitting in the cut, hoping that Mizzou loses the ball game so they can get in the SEC championship game. Here's the problem. Mizzou's going to lose this game as well. Here's the problem. This is the reason why they're going to lose it. Because Ole Miss comes into this game 7-3. Mississippi is Mississippi, bruh. They've overachieved already, bruh. If they 7-3, they playing with house money. They have no pressure. And Mizzou comes in with all the pressure because they got to win this ball game, win out. They got to win this weekend. They got to beat Texas A&M next weekend. So these duns coming in tight. Ole Miss has nothing to lose. And here's the deal. They're on a 4-game winning streak. They've already beaten LSU within this 4-game winning streak. They're averaging 42 points a game and 500 yards of total offense within these 4 games. They coming in with all kind of swagger, bruh. So I got to go with the Ole Miss Rebels to win this game. Let's move on to the next ball game, but we're going to stay in the SEC. We got number 12, Texas A&M and Johnny Football coming in to Baton Rouge to play the number 22 LSU Tigers. Now, here's the deal. Johnny Football, I don't care what anybody says. I know I've been talking about Famous Jameis for the last few weeks. Matter of fact, all season. Famous Jameis is the most impressive to me. I love him to death. However, Johnny Football is the best player in college football. This dog got better numbers this year than he had last year. He comes into this game with 3,313 yards and 31 touchdowns, bro. That's better than he had last year. Look at this stat. He has had, in 19 straight starts, he's put up more than 300-plus yards of total offense. Who does that? Now, this offense that he's running right now is averaging 578 yards per game, and they putting up 49 points a game. Here's the problem. The defense is dull. They can't stop a run in a pair of pantyhose, bruh. I mean, this is probably the worst defense in America. They got to score 49 points to win by 2 or 3 points. Now, here's the problem. Zach Mattenberger, quarterback at LSU, is putting up more than 2,700 yards and 20 touchdowns. They averaging 37 points a game and more than 460 yards. That's enough to beat these Duns from Texas A&M. Now, you got to keep this in mind. They got 2 legitimate wide receivers. You got Big Hands Odell Beckham that's put up more than 1,000 yards of receiving. First, time out, bro. How does a cat that's 19 years old show up with a name like Odell? They stopped naming Duns Odell in 1965, bro. That's like running into a cat that's in kindergarten named Cleotis. Let's move on. Now, we also got another wide receiver at LSU, Jarvis Landry. This cat has put up more than 972 yards of receiving. This cat is the real deal. So, now, these 2 Duns are going to go to work on the Texas A&M defense. And got to keep this in mind. LSU is 5-0 at the crib. They don't lose at the crib. It's hard to beat them at home. So I got to go with the LSU Tigers and Mike the Tiger to win this ball game. Now, let's go to the big game, the one everybody's been waiting on and the one I've been telling you about all year. We're going down to the Big 12. We got number 4, Baylor, shows up to Boone Pickens Stadium to play the number 10 Oklahoma State Cowpokes. Now, here's the deal. Baylor comes in 9-0. They rolling. Here's the problem. They 9-0. It's Baylor. Baylor got Duns on the team. They should have gone to Baylor. They don't have crazy talent. They don't have better talent than everybody else. They overachieving right now. And here's the problem. For the first time in school history, they 9-0. Then you got cameras. Lights and cameras are getting bright. You got boys from ESPN on campus telling them how good they are. All of a sudden, people knocking on their doors, wanting autographs. They starting to date 10s. You got Duns on this team been limited to 3s and 4s their whole life. Now all of a sudden in the last 3 or 4 weeks, they dating 10s. After the win last week, now some of them got 12s. It's Thursday. And these Duns had need prepared for the ball game, bruh. They sitting up daydreaming about the 12 they hanging out with. So they gonna show up down at Boone Pickens and get the brakes beat off of them this weekend. Now, here's the deal. They putting up crazy numbers. Bryce Petty got more than 2,900 yards and 24 touchdowns. They averaging 61 points a game. They putting up 685 yards of total offense, and they riding a 13-game winning streak. But I keep telling you, it's about to fall apart because these Duns can't handle the pressure because they've been hanging out with 12s this week. Now, all Oklahoma State got to do is do what they've been doing. They're averaging 40 points a game, putting up more than 429 yards of total offense. That's enough to beat these Duns because they playing at the crib. It's your man Jay Graves Report from the JayGravesReport.com, or you can hit me up on Twitter at JayGravesReport and holla at your boy.